Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Welcome to the House of McTiernan, the latest entry in the Houselights series here on the Nerd Party Network. This week, we're continuing our series on the directed works of John McTiernan in the 1990s with 1993's Last Action Hero. I'm Darren Moser, and I'm joined again by my friends Hitman Tristan Eggs Benedict Riddell and my new police supervisor, John the Yell Mills. Gentlemen...
Dire Van Frank.
Dire Van Frank was the best one. Yeah. Oh, but I want to know what movie you would step into with Houdini's ticket, and I'm sure we'll find that out when we talk about Last Action Hero.
Ooh, I gotta think about that.
Yeah, okay, we'll be thinking about that. So starting off, this came out in June 1993. About 29 years ago. Unfortunately, it also came out days after Jurassic Park, this other little known movie, that promptly stomped it into the ground. But box office here, no there. Yeah, this is an interesting case of Hollywood. Like, it's kind of meta. It's kind of self-referring. I mean, Schwarzenegger plays an actor of himself and also himself. And it's like, but it's this weird kind of never-ending story vibe of getting pulled into fiction. It's a really interesting story. And then they're like, well, let's put John McTiernan on this because he's the action guy. But does it land? Like, that's going to be the real question on this. So this was definitely not my first time watching this. I remember catching it back in the 90s. Again, there's probably another blockbuster rental. You see Schwarzenegger on the cover, all $15 million of him. So it was worth a watch then. And I remember being kind of confused by the plot. Like, it is a bit all over the place, which we'll also get into, but I did like all the cameos. Like, I love the animated cop Cat, and I loved the T-1000, walking by for 2 seconds. Like,
and Sharon Stone, like her Basic Instinct character.
Yeah, all those characters. Like, that was okay. That's using your budget wisely, but and I guess people with missing eyes are inherently villainous, no matter what happens. But John, when was the first time you watched this? Did you catch this? Were you like, I don't need to see Jurassic Park 3 more times. Let's go see Last Action Hero.
Yeah, after I had seen Jurassic Park about 3 times, my friends and I were, hey, what else can we see? I was like, oh yeah, Last Action Hero. Let's go catch that. And I remember seeing it, and I remember being horribly disappointed by it, and I remember being a little bit late to it. And and to your point about the confusion thing, I don't think it's confusion so much as the movie can't remember its own rules through the movie. It's assembled in just this haphazard way. And I'm convinced that had they been given more time to edit this, they could have really shored it up. There's something good in here. There's something clever in here. But the assembly of it, just on that first viewing, I was just, it was the butt of the joke that summer. Everybody made fun of it. Even at the, I think it was the Oscars the following year, they had clips of, different actors and celebrities talking, and Schwarzenegger was being interviewed, and he said that Last Action Hero was the best script he'd ever read, and you could hear the laughter, the nervous laughter in the audience. It's like somebody put that clip in there just to take a dig at him. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Better to put in the clip where he's talking about Planet Hollywood. That's a better clip to put in.
Oh, man.
What about you, Tristan? When was the first time you saw the last action movie you would ever see? Because it was so good. It just
the first
all paled in comparison.
All of it pales in comparison. The first time I saw this was on TV. When it aired on TV, my dad taped it. because we taped everything. Like we taped stuff that we'd never seen before, just stuff that we think we would like, and then we kept it forever. And I miss those days. Like, I don't miss those days, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm nostalgic for those days where you can fit like 4 movies on one tape. And you're like,
I mean, sure, the quality is crap for EP, but it's worth it. What, buy another VHS? We'll just cram more onto this one.
No. Put it on SP. No. EP. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta fast forward, the 10 Commandments to get to Last Action Hero.
It's like half the tape, Tristan.
But no, like, yeah, it was Dad taped it off of television, and we watched it all the time growing up. Like, my dad and I would watch it all the time.
This
like,
was
I
a
have
staple
a lot
of your house.
It really was. Like my sister and my mother didn't really like it, but I remember my dad and I just kind of throwing it, like, when we couldn't think of what to watch. Like, that was one that we would go back to because we love the self-referential humor. Like, we watched Schwarzenegger films all the time together, and so seeing him make fun of himself and make action movies the butt of the joke was hilarious. And the fact that there's like continuity errors all throughout on purpose, and like you try to check to see if you can find them, it was like a fun little game that we would play together. And so yeah, like I watched this on loop all the time growing up, but I hadn't seen it for, man, like, since I was 11. So yeah, so it's been decades since I've seen it until I watched it again yesterday.
Okay, that'll be really interesting to see if that bit of nostalgia growing up watching it as a family favorite will influence your rating. Maybe half a point. I'm feeling that's at least worth half a point, but we'll see.
I do often give, I will admit that I give consideration to rose-colored glasses. Like, I will straight up say, like, I'm giving it a half point because of the memories. Like, it's a little thank you for the time well spent.
Yeah. It's, I mean, even at the time, I'll just be revisiting it was very interesting because I remember at the time, Schwarzenegger actually bore all of the blame for the failure. Like, it's just people were waiting to blow him up, and McTiernan came through it relatively unscathed. Like, all the blame was laid at Schwarzenegger's doorstep, and I think it's because he used all of his clout to make it happen. And it was sort of like
first EP job,
right? This was the pinnacle of his, leveraging his star power at that point to get everybody in there so that he could pave the way for further comedies like Jingle All the Way. So,
well, and this was also like, he thought that this was the beginning of his end, the beginning of the end of his career as an action star. Which I always was really confused by that, because after...
Did he think that this movie caused that? Or did he feel he was already on his way out and then was like, I might as well do this comedy?
I feel like this movie caused it, I think is what he said. Which is really confusing to me, because right after this, True Lies comes out.
And he's back on top.
Yeah. So I think he's talking about out of his ass on that one. But yeah, like, it was this was his first EP job. John, you're absolutely right. He leveraged everything to get it to the way that he had approval on everything: director, script, PR, everything. He had approval on everything. And although, like, while McTiernan did go away somewhat unscathed, it did kind of break him, though. Because he took a break from filmmaking, and he said that, like, I read an article saying that he retreated to his home in Wyoming. And it was an article, it was on IMDb. Like, he retreated to his home in Wyoming after this because he was just so downtrodden that this movie did so poorly.
Well, I mean, he really isn't so much to blame. Like, McTiernan is the wrong director. I wouldn't
put all the blame.
Yeah. No.
Who's Zemeckis? I think Zemeckis was attached to this at one point.
That would have been better.
Because it has Roger Rabbit kind of vibes, like this weird kind of amalgamation of things. Like, did you guys get a kind of similar feel to like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as far as like it's kind of meta on itself, and it's creating this weird world where movies are kind of because the movie world isn't a movie. It's the movie world where you have all these other characters walking around that exist in different franchises. I mean, there's like Humphrey Bogart's like black and white getting, paired up. So it's definitely self, referential.
I think Zemeckis would have done a much more popular job because of his sense of whimsy.
Yeah.
I think, like what Zemeckis does with whimsical and magical and, for lack of a better word, sci-fi, like fantasy. Like I feel like that sense, that aura about it, I think he would have probably, like, people probably would have latched onto it better, but then again, like there was so many production problems with this and it ran so long. They were filming up to a week before release.
Oh, see, that's not good.
Yeah,
well, and I also read that they went through like several script doctors and like a couple of rewrites, and that, I mean, not that you can't still get a good script out of that, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me feeling it. That's a bad sign. Like if you're really having to polish this concept of a story so much, maybe it's just not going to be a good film. Like there's no way to pull it off.
I say the key structural problem with it is when Schwarzenegger comes into the real world. I think if this movie stays in the film world so that our hero character then wakes up in the movie theater at the end, hey, did you enjoy it? Wow, I felt like I was in it. And then you have some sort of thing where like Arnold looks at the screen and winks at him, right? That I think that has a much better vibe than what they do, because when they bring everybody into the real world, it's not fun anymore. It's weird.
It's like, oh, look, the bad guys can actually kill people. Great. That's
right.
I mean, that's not.
I'd have to disagree with you on that.
I mean,
one
that part is fun, but it's not good.
I laugh really hard at some of the stuff, like when he realizes
I've
that things
shot a
hurt.
Man and I attempt to do it again.
or like when he shoots at the taxi cab and he's like, not one worked, because he was expecting it to explode. Or when he punches the window, he's like, my hand really hurts. That's hilarious.
There are good jokes in it, but I've always been of the opinion that it should have just stayed in the fantasy world. And you get the great lesson for the kid that you can't spend your life in fantasy, and we don't stretch our. I mean, it becomes a bridge too far, especially when Arnold and Arnold are there, and that red carpet thing was just like, oh no, that's just no. So
or
bad.
Maybe if they'd taken it in a Expendables kind of way. I mean, not for like graphic violence, but more like they stay in the movie universe, but it starts to become a thing where the bad guys have the ticket and they're pulling other bad guys from movies into this movie world to like shore up an army, and then we have to bring in action good guys. Like that would have been awesome. Something like that.
Well,
like still in the movie world.
Yeah, I think there's also tremendous potential for humor where they like bring in like Chuck Norris. Yeah. And they're like, let's go. And Norris is like, what? I'm an actor. What are you talking about? These people are shooting at me.
Or the fact that Sylvester Stallone was the representative of the Arnold, like he was in Terminator 2. He's like, oh, I love his movie. He's so good.
Yeah.
That's why we have area codes. I mean, the jokes are
the blockbuster
good.
Scene was hilarious. I love how every single woman on screen was friggin' gorgeous. Like they
call that out.
And the outfits that they were wearing were ridiculous. Like the cops, like they had like boob armor and like made from like latex and vinyl. It was insane.
Yeah, I think a lot of the jokes do land. It's just the jokes themselves aren't enough to carry the movie. They're not bad, but yeah, and again, there's also the whole beginning part of like what did you guys think of the framing device of like Houdini's ticket and like this kid who doesn't like going to school and he likes going to the movies, like because with a kid movie, because that's kind of what it is. Like he's kind of the main. I know Arnold's the main character, but if you don't buy the kid, it's an anchor to the film. Did you guys? How did you guys accept that framing device of this kid who loves movies? And there's a lot of father figure references kind of in this whole thing. But how did that come across to you? What do you think, John?
I think that if they had spent more time with building up the Houdini's ticket, instead of having the kid get robbed and chained to his toilet by a real world criminal, probably a better choice.
That was like,
that was a little
it's the
too
80s.
intense.
We're going to pretend it's the 80s, and this is what happens.
Yeah, I thought that was a weird choice to have that type of danger, because we all knew he was going to get to the end point anyway. And it's this sense of danger that's thrown in there that is legitimately frightening, but it's just unnecessary. And I think that they needed more time with the ticket to have because basically when the ticket's introduced, it's like, oh, here's Harry Houdini's ticket. Let me tear it for you. Here you go. It's like, spend a little more time with that, building the relationship with the projectionist, and instead of having that detour in the beginning.
Well, and I kept getting, like I said, never-ending story vibes. Like in the beginning of Never-Ending Story, he gets bullied and he retreats into the school and reads the story. Like he's running from bullies and stuff. Again, it's not a beat for beat, but it was very kind of similar. Like, okay, he's going to be in danger and he's going to retreat to the movie theater and then get pulled into this fantastical adventure. But what did you think, Tristan?
I was fine with it. I didn't mind them going to it so quickly, but I can't disagree with John. I think it's a great idea too, because it did seem out of place. Like I saw it as just reinforcing his need to find that fantasy. You're like, wow, this kid is lacking a father figure. He has a really crappy life. He's a latchkey kid. His mom's away all the time. Like he needs the movies in order to get away. But I gladly would sacrifice that terrifying scene,
right?
where the guy taunts him to kill him with his own knife. Not only is it terrifying to have somebody break into your house while you're in it, but to do that as well. You're like, yeah, I gladly would have replaced that scene to build up the relationship more with the projectionist and tease the ticket a little bit more. Yeah, I think I can't argue with that. I think that would have made a much more solid opening, even though it didn't really bother me. John, I think what you're saying definitely would improve it. One thing that I really found weird was like whoever named it, who said like, oh yeah, let's go with Houdini. He's enigmatic. Like Houdini hated the supernatural. Like he constantly tried to disprove anything that was supernatural, and to attribute him to a magic ticket, like if you know anything about Houdini, that pisses you off. So that in itself was a little strange.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that lazy thing, that lazy impulse of who's a magician that everybody's going to know? Harry Houdini. Although ironically, now watching it, this many years later, if I showed this movie to one of my kids and I said, "Hey, do you know who that is? Harry Houdini?" Who? Yeah, I figured.
Yeah. But they don't even know who David Copperfield is.
Right. They would, they should have had it. He should have talked about Chris Angel, who's a mind freak, in case anybody didn't know that.
Chris Angel? Really?
Freaks
really?
My mind.
But yeah. Well,
what did you guys think of the kids acting? Like, what did you think of the character? Like, Danny, like Austin O'Brien.
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't I liked the part where he's riding his bike and he's like, I'm the hero. Like, oh, wait, no, I'm the plucky sidekick. This is not going to work. Like that was pretty funny. It's interesting because I don't necessarily think more about his acting. I think more about just the way the story is structured, where he's spending all this energy not enjoying being in the movie world, but just trying to convince, Arnold Slater that he's in a movie. And it's like, eventually I'd just be like, just stop talking, just enjoy all the craziness. Like,
right.
Why do you need to convince him that? And then just go along for the ride until the bad guy comes into the real world. And then now you are in the driver's seat again, because you know about the real world and how things work here. So it was just he was kind of just not whining the whole time, but I'm like, dude, you're in your favorite franchise movie. Like, this is like if I got pulled into Star Trek and I spent the entire time arguing with Data that he was in a fictional. No, I would just be like, yes, I am a cadet, and where's my uniform? I need some replicator rations, and I will be on Delta shift. I don't even care. Thanks. I'm good. So that, I don't think it was bad acting. It was
we're
more
used
just
to
the
more
story.
of a 3-shift rotation here, Darren.
But no, I thought his acting was okay for a child actor. I don't know. We talked about Zemeckis a bit, and it got me thinking, what if we had aged up this character a little?
Mm-hmm.
So he was more like a Marty McFly age, I think, who just loves going to the movies and again, play into the escapism. My life is bad and I really love, and I know all these things.
Maybe do more of a slacker vibe as opposed to a kid who's
has
crap
age
life.
it, like go like 4 or 5 years older or something. Like, but again, like I said, like a high schooler who's just, you're a slacker, McFly. Something like that. I think that would have been more interesting. And again, that's nothing against the actor. That's on the story. But I think that would have been better.
Yeah, I agree. I think the kid does fine, but I think the material isn't particularly robust. And I think that for what he's got to do, okay. I didn't have a problem with him. I have friends who absolutely ragged on his performance, and I'm always the guy that's like, it's a kid. What am I expecting here? And it's like it's sort of that. If the kid isn't going to win an Oscar for the performance, what's he even doing on screen? And it's like, maybe your standards are a little harsh here. I don't know, throwing that out there. So
I usually can't stand child actors. Like if it's a story about a kid, I don't want to watch it. Even if people tell me it's good, I don't want to watch it because I just can't stand watching children on screen. But he never really bothered me. And again, I'm not saying, I'm not saying I thought it was going to be the next Dakota Fanning or anything like that. But I think he did a serviceable job. He did what he showed up, knew the assignment, and did what he needed to do.
Yeah. I do think though that the biggest problem is that McTiernan is just not where he's supposed to be. This is something where this is not material. You look through his track record, and there's comedy in Hunt for Red October. There's attempts at comedy in Medicine Man, and there's Shane Black comedy in Predator, so there's humor in there. There's definitely humor in Die Hard. So he knows how to do like a humorous action beat, but he's not a comedy director, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah, this is a comedy film, not an action film with humor, which I'd say counterpoints action very well. But a comedy movie that is poking fun at itself as an action facade. I mean, that's just a weird formula any way you slice it. Like, no wonder it didn't really pan out.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's tough because this is the type of movie that I hate being harsh with, because its intentions.
They tried something new and they get slapped down for it.
Well, I mean, its intentions are good. It wants to deliver family entertainment. It wants you to have a good time. And it's all just, let's have some fun. You know who I am. You know this routine. And let's just have me do it. And it's supposed to sort of be a love letter to Arnold's fans. And so I don't want to be harsh with a movie like that, but it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, honesty's just got to win out, because there are so many choices that are just, I think the long script development really shows where they kept going. And at a certain point you got to say, we're not ready.
Yeah.
Let's just put this in a turnaround for a year and come back to it.
Well, like when they start to get psychological with Arnold and he's all like, oh my gosh, I'm a fictional character, and he's thinking about the death of his son and someone writing that in the script, and I'm like, okay, that's a whole nother angle. Did we need to go into that in this story? Like, that's like, we have enough subplots going on. That's one more. Although I will say the actor who played the Ripper, that guy was scary as all get out. Like I was like, if this was an actual movie, like I actually want to see that movie. Like he was a straight up like king of slasher villain. I'm like, that looks
Tom
so
Noonan
good.
is
Tom Noonan,
is terrifying because
He's
he can
so
play
freaking scary.
well, like even like he was in an X-Files episode that is bone chilling, and he plays a serial child murderer. And he doesn't have any makeup on. He doesn't play a psycho, and that's what makes him terrifying.
Well, he
just plays it like he's the everyman.
The role that I always think of him for is Francis Dollarhide.
Oh, that's right.
In
He was
Manhunter.
Kane. I forgot about that. He was Kane in RoboCop 2.
Yeah, yes, he was. Another action classic that had a couple of misfires there, but no, I mean he played Dollarhide in Manhunter, and that's the first time I ever saw him, and I think he's terrific at giving that creepy vibe. Like he knows it's his physicality. He knows how to keep himself still enough that it's unsettling.
He's just standing
really
there
good.
with that crooked smile and the long exaggerated hair, and he's just looking at you, and you're like, "Don't look at me, dude. I want you to look at me. Like you're creeping me out."
Yep. Yeah. And he's so he again, it's just another one of those things where it's like they knew what they wanted in a sense. They just couldn't figure out how to get there. And it's I think one of the funniest things though was I didn't realize until this watch, because I haven't revisited this in so long, that it was Ian McKellen that comes out of the Bergman film.
Yeah, he's Death. Yeah.
I always forget. I know that I knew that, but I always forget it.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was in there. Yeah. It's Death. Oh my gosh. What's going on?
He also has one of the best comedic moments. You know, again, there are comedic moments, but when he's walking by the police officer who's lighting up a cigarette and he just touches him, and then the guy starts having a coughing fit and collapses, you know, that landed great back then because that was, you know, the 90s was basically where the whole sentiment against smoking was really taking off. So that joke really landed really, really well in the theater.
And also, like, not only was he Death, like he actually is Death. Like he could tell Danny's future.
Yeah. He's like,
terrifying.
It was kind of creepy when he's like, you're not on my list, meaning you don't exist. And he's like, and you're going to die a grandfather. It's like, I don't want to know that. Like, that's,
yeah, right.
It's like, oh my gosh. I was getting worried because I couldn't remember the whole end of the plot. And I was thinking, is he coming for Mac? Is he going to be asleep and he's actually dead? And he's like, that's why he's going to the theater. I'm like, that's what I thought was going to happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be terrible. But that obviously didn't happen.
One thing that I always lose it at is the Hamlet sequence with Schwarzenegger as Hamlet. I want to see that movie. I want to see all 3 hours of that movie.
Oh, that is funny.
And I think that deals a lot with expectations for the audience. And one of the reasons this fell so flat is I remember that Hamlet scene being in the first trailer and everybody was electrified. They went, this is going to be great. That's hysterical. I can't the whole movie's going to be like this. That's insane. And then
it wasn't.
It in all honesty, watching it this time, it played like a leftover gag that they just really didn't want to get rid of because it landed so well in previews. Because I don't know that it's really that useful in terms of forwarding the story along.
We don't need to establish him except for one franchise. We don't need to be like, look, what else he's been in. It's like, no, and again, we're already playing with film and time and space and fantasy. Like, they could go in a completely different direction and make it really interesting. But instead it was what if, a guy gets pulled into the movie world where, guns never need to be reloaded. You never get killed, all this stuff. And then what if that action hero is pulled into the real world where things are terrible? And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't really want to see that movie. That doesn't really sound that interesting to me.
I think there's an argument that you could have a version of this movie where he goes in during the trailers and the scenes flipping is where Danny is first thinking that
kind of like Hell TV or something where he gets pulled between different things.
And then he hits the main feature and by that point he's figured out the rules and that he's not going to get hurt. And, so he gets a chance to be in a couple of those things like Hamlet, where he's, in that movie, the trailer is part of what he's watching. It connects everything together better, so that's, but I mean, at this point, as you're fond of saying, Tristan, at this point, I'm just rewriting it. It's not even the same movie at that point. So
no,
Yeah.
but I mean, these are interesting. Like, you guys are raising some really solid points about, and I know hindsight is 2020, but
Well, yeah.
you're
This might
you guys
work because we know what didn't. It's like,
but you guys are shooting some pretty good workshop ideas on, I think, I never really thought about the it not landing him coming into the real world, like how much of a downer that would be. And to me, I thought it was a nice reversal. Like, it was a nice character reversal. But you guys mentioned the child death thing. Like, yeah, that's a little dark. That was one of the rewrites, I do believe. I think that was the last rewrite, where it was $1 million rewrite, and Schwarzenegger refused to do the movie until they brought in more heart and drama into the piece.
okay,
but I don't think they succeeded. I don't think they got their $1 million because.
Well, somebody got $1 million. It just wasn't us.
I didn't.
So,
they didn't get their $1 million worth. I'll say
yes, yeah, no, and it's
I mean, is there more heart and feeling when Danny pulls a gun on the EMTs in the ambulance and then steals it? I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And then he's like, and then the joke of like, I watched you drive. And I'm like, we've watched him drive. He's a terrible driver. It's only because of movie logic that he doesn't crash into everything.
Yeah, it just basically breaks down as like a lovable misfire. And I think another thing that really alienated audiences early on and is just a part of our fabric of movies now is this movie was absolutely hammered for all of the product placement. The Sony mini disc man in his car, where there are dedicated shots to it. There are all of these product placements in it. Yeah. There are product placements in it that got called out because people knew that to help fund the movie, they had done specific product placement arrangements because Sony was trying to get the mini disc to take off. Now, I'm old enough to remember that disastrous rollout, but it doesn't carry forward.
Player, I love
it.
Really?
I remember that. You're
the only person I have encountered in all of these years that actually owned one.
I owned one. It was a mini disc player and recorder, and I would. It was really small. It was like the size of a mini disc.
Yeah, it was like maybe 3 inches square at most.
Yeah.
Probably 2.5.
And I could fit. It was kind of, hey, we were joking about VHS, but like it had the same kind of like long play, standard play, and extended play, and so you could fit a whole bunch of stuff on there. Like, and mine had an audio in, and so I would hook that up to my DVD player, and I would record movie quotes, like my favorite movie quotes and monologues, and just like listen to that at high school.
Wow.
And
Such
and that's
nerd,
that's how I listen to stuff in my car. Like, yeah, I had that before anything.
Yeah. the great frontier before the internet, where you could just find anything at a whim.
Yeah.
So it's just such part of the landscape now to have product placement that you don't even really notice it anymore.
Unless it's a Michael Bay film.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly, was Bay directing at this point? He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Bay movie, honestly. Or even I'll throw out there 2-director movie. You have one director do the in-movie stuff, and then you have another director do another thing. No director is going to go for that, but it's a great way to spread the blame if the movie bombs. So
that's actually an interesting idea. So maybe have McTiernan just do the movie stuff, and then someone else does the
comedy.
Always night time. It was always night. Always. Yeah. I don't think we saw New York City in the day once.
Very briefly, but they were inside the apartment. It was when he was talking to
that's right,
to the mom. Mercedes Rule, who was hoping that this would help her star continue to rise, because she was becoming a name at this point, and I think that this movie might have derailed her a little bit. which is unfortunate.
Bad Boys was 95.
Okay.
So right
So Bay was
after.
just doing commercials at this point.
Music videos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Arnold has worked with McTiernan before. He knows McTiernan's going to play ball. So it makes sense for him to go to somebody that he's worked with before that he maybe, and this is going to come out all sorts of wrong, and I don't mean it in the negative way that it's going to sound, but somebody that he could tell things to as EP and say,
Right.
this is what's going to happen.
And he's an EP that's always on the set because he's the lead actor.
Right. So he can, for lack of a better term, boss McTiernan around. If McTiernan doesn't really like something, Schwarzenegger can always pull the card of, well, I do. And so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
you start to
EP
get a
that's
film
on set
by
every day. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you start to get a film by committee.
Right.
Or by, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not one person's vision anymore. And that coupled with a massively rewritten script, which again, I'm not saying you can't have a good script come out of that, but eventually you have to kind of cut your losses and be like, this just isn't going to make the money we need it to make.
Oh, they definitely overthought it. But I do think that this movie is the type of concept I think they could do a one season, like Netflix type of show where it's 6 or 7 episodes, not an hour and a half each or anything like that, but like, something manageable, 30, 45 minutes per episode. I don't know whether it's 7 episodes or not.
Referencing a different action movie.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great idea, but I'm thinking just stranding Danny in the first episode. And then in the second episode, he's trying to figure out, he goes to where his house is supposed to be and it's not there, and you get him going along and have him take a little more time. And then you can also have a little more setup. The whole first episode can be set up for how the ticket works, why the ticket's good, why, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that this is something that could be resurrected and turned into an interesting one-shot series. Not multiple seasons, but a one-shot series. I think could be good.
I mean, that's true. There are some story ideas out there where, they're good. They have good concepts, but they're just in the wrong medium. Like, how many times have we seen something and we're like, well, that was great. You jammed it into a 2.5 hour movie. And if this had been a miniseries, we would have like salivated, it's
Right.
just not in the right format.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back then they didn't have streaming. So it's like that.
It's no excuse, John.
Well, that's a good point. I'm
They
just
should have
saying,
invented it.
I'm just saying I didn't
And then
see
selling it.
Hey, we used to get TV for free. That should blow everybody's mind. But no, I just think there's just not enough for a 26 episode season here. That's why streaming is why it's perfect. So, yeah.
I want to do a little side story because you just made a Jurassic Park reference and we talked about it earlier on and about how it just destroyed Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
So I remember driving by our movie theater and it was on the highway. You could see it from the highway and they had a banner that said Jurassic Park and it was the entire width of the building. And this was a multiplex. And it didn't say Jurassic Park here, Jurassic Park, see it now. It just said Jurassic Park. It was like the building was built for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It was just like a crazy person on the street corner saying, movie! Movie!
I remember that summer, the knockoff T-shirts, the rip-off, references and stuff like that went out there was, I just think it's so insane because they had the ability. I don't know how, because, the industry, everybody keeps tabs on each other. Everybody knows what type of movie is coming out. What fool looked at Jurassic Park coming and was like, yeah, we can take down Spielberg. No, you cannot do that. That is impossible.
I think Jurassic moved to June 11th, right before Last Action Hero came out, like a week later. But so Last Action Hero had already slotted themselves.
I see.
And then all of a sudden, look who comes in, the new dance partner, and a week before. Now, granted, I don't know how much time there was between them moving and being released. Like, yeah, do you then push your movie back, which would have probably been better?
I have no idea if this is true, but I read that the studio didn't want to move it because they didn't want it to look like they were in trouble.
Like they were running.
Because
I mean, they were.
They
but-
were. That's the thing. They were. They had so many production problems, and they ran so long that if they prolonged it, they were scared that the community would just go like, "Oh, this is going to be garbage, and I'm not going to go see it." And Schwarzenegger backed that decision. He's like, "Yeah, no, that's smart."
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, if even Titanic several years later can move because of different reasons.
Well,
and
I mean,
everything
how many movies do we see where it literally is life or death what you make that opening weekend? Like it's usually always your highest weekend and then it all goes down. Very, very rarely is word of mouth and the the train starts rolling and you actually either maintain or increase. Like it does happen, but not very often. And man, I mean, because I think they opened at number 2. Like they did not trump the week old Jurassic Park. They were they were never number 1.
You know, they should have taken a lesson from Star Trek 6 and Beauty and the Beast, because Star Trek backed down on that one, and they changed their release date at the last minute because they didn't want to go up against Disney's next powerhouse.
Which is probably smart because
it was very smart because if they had released on the same day, I guarantee you Star Trek 6 was not making any money. So, which would have been a shame. But
that would have been.
Yeah, it's the brinksmanship is just it's dumb and it's ego. And it's just one of those things where if Universal is confident enough to say, "Oh, this is something special. We're accelerating the release date." And, to y'all's point, it had all these production problems.
Yeah,
man, buy yourself, go to the end of August for Pete's sake.
This is reading as well that in their second week, they lost 47% of their opening week audience, and Sleepless in Seattle came out as number 1. So they were never, that's just like a 1-2 punch. You're just...
But even that figure that you're throwing out there, it's so interesting because nowadays the expectation between week 1 and week 2 is the movie has staying power if it only drops 60%.
Right.
And so like you roll it back to back then 47%, they're like, "Oh no, we're dead in the water." So yeah, I'm actually as I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure I saw this in a second run theater. Because I'm picturing the theater and I know where I was sitting and I'm pretty sure I know the theater I saw it in. And by that point it was a second run. So I guess I wasn't too mad back then because I only paid half price for the ticket. So,
well, and I mean, we can all say yes, it was bad timing, but that isn't the only thing that kind of torpedoed this movie. Like there were many issues. Like if they had the perfect Christmas weekend and for some random reason there were no other films released, it still would not have done as well.
No. What, like this doesn't have a very good Rotten Tomatoes score, does it?
No, I don't think it does.
I mean, my metric is always in comparison to Star Trek 6, right? Or not Star Trek 6, Star Trek 5, right?
Okay.
Because people hate Star Trek 5. And so if the movie comes in at an aggregate that's lower than Star Trek 5, that means you're in the real Venom territory. 39%. Higher rating than Star Trek 5.
Wow. 39.
But the audience score is 47%. So
which is not much better.
What is Star Trek 5?
I think it's like 23% or something like that. This got a little bit more love than that.
Well, before we get into our own ratings, instead of just looking at Rotten Tomatoes, I say, Darren, where can we find you?
Star Trek 5 was 22%. Did not do very well.
Yeah.
They can find me at drsci-fi.com, DRSCIFI, or here on the network talking about many things, talking about Star Trek, sometimes Star Trek 5 on City Alpha 3, and also talking about making on Maker's Method.
And for me, my name is online as Kessel Junkie. Look for it. And here on the network, you can find me co-hosting a Star Wars podcast called Aggressive Negotiations, where, we do our thing over there and we think it's pretty special. But Tristan, where can people find you at?
You can find me at The Insane Robin on Twitter and Letterboxd. You can also find me all over the place on this website at thenerdparty.com. Just go to thenerdparty.com, find our bio page, click me, and then you can find all of my shows.
That's right. Okay, so I think we're just about at ratings unless there's some unreleased pent up point that either of you would like to make on this wonderful franchise spawning, not really, film?
No,
I
I'm
loved
good.
Charles Dance's different eyeballs.
that was cool. That was
Oh, they were-
he was a
they
really
were
cool
neat.
villain.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great villain. I have no idea if this is true, but Alan Rickman was offered the role, and he said no due to salary. And Charles Dance, apparently, he could have just been joking, but wore a T-shirt that said "I'm cheaper than Alan Rickman" on set.
I loved when he was in his bad guy hotel room layer, whatever. But he had like this little stand with like spoons on it, and each of the spoons had a little, eyeball from to choose from. And I'm like, that's again there were better characters in the version 4 movie with the bad guys like that. Those were more interesting than any of the other people we were supposed to pay attention to.
Yep.
And when F. Murray Abraham came on scene, and they said, like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. John, practice. He's like, hey, he killed Mozart.
Yeah. It's like, did you kill Mozart? He's like, do you not know who Mozart is? Because you would know that it's not a real person or a person that lives now. Yeah. No, again, good jokes. A lot of the jokes landed. It just wasn't enough to keep the story rolling. All right. Well, as the resident expert in seeing it in theater, John, what would you give Last Action Hero?
1 golden ticket.
You could give it half a ticket if you wanted, because that's what happened to the ticket.
Half a
I love
ticket
the
feels
shot
too
where
mean.
like at the end, they're like slow pan, freeze for 3 seconds on the ticket box, so you remember, pan away. It's like, oh man,
that is for some reason McTiernan's signature, where he doesn't just like mention Chekhov's gun, he slobbers all over it. Like, just,
yeah, no, he does. Oh wait, so why a 1, John?
Because it's terrible. I mean, seriously, this movie is it's
great
a punt.
podcasting.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. I'm getting to the point.
With you.
It's a punchline without a joke. I mean, that's I think that's the best way to put it. It's like it's an assembly of gags and no real connective tissue. There's something there that could be great, but
which makes it even sadder.
Yes, makes it even more frustrating. But especially on this rewatch, I'm pretty sure it fell in my estimation on this rewatch. So, but I'm the curmudgeon. I'm the mean guy. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, the last time you gave a movie a 1, it was Jack. So
there you go.
So you don't like comedies, is what I'm hearing. Okay.
I have a hard heart. I have a very hard heart, and
no sense of humor.
None at all. None at all.
Bitter old man.
Yes, I'm frequently saying nasty things to people just as I walk down the street. That's me.
All right. Well, Tristan, what would you give this? Is it higher or lower than John?
No, I'm going last. You're going next.
No, I'm in the host seat, so I get to choose.
No, you're going next.
Oh, dang it. Well, I mean, you are the producer, the EP of this show, so I guess you can tell me what to do.
That's the only time I'm going to flex. You go. You go next.
I'm giving it a 2 still. It has a lot of humor. It's hard when you find a movie that you can rewrite yourself in your own mind and make it 10 times better, and you kind of wish that maybe that if only they had paid $1,001 for the script writer, it could have been better. But
damn hubris.
But it's I haven't watched this movie in so long. It's not like, oh man, I do not have the nostalgia lens that you do, Tristan, and it's. I mean, I will watch it again in the future, probably another couple decades from now, but it is definitely nothing that my time is precious. My movie viewing time with kids is finite and few. So if you guys hadn't made me watch this, I probably wouldn't have. So yeah, I'll give it a 2. If this is a 4, Tristan, we're gonna have some words. No, what do you
I'm
think?
bracing myself.
Yeah,
I
starting to
love
brace
this
now.
movie so much.
Oh my gosh, closet.
I love it.
What?
I love it so much.
You've been duping us this entire time, haven't you?
I do. I genuinely love this movie. I was so worried because I hadn't seen it in decades. Like I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I loved it when I watched it with my dad. And then
Did you watch it on the VHS tape? Did you pull it out and find a VHS player?
And then this bitter old man texted me, just talking about how horrible it was and how I would.
Is that
have
you,
to
John? Are you the bitter old man?
This story is a little bit trumped up. Just a little bit trumped up here.
No, okay.
No, this totally sounds like you, John, though. So I'm just saying, I totally buy this.
I told him to prepare himself. That's all.
And so I was absolutely terrified. I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna suck. This is not gonna be anywhere near as good as I remember it." And then I was able to watch it by myself. I was feeding my 4-month-old. I was grinning ear to ear like an idiot, like the entire time. I was like, every single gag lands. And John, you're right. I mean, like it's a collection of gags with very little connective tissue. I think the only connective tissue is that we're in a movie, and that's enough for me. Like the sheer idea that in order to charge the gas bomb, you have to pull his finger. That's hilarious.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say before we started recording that somebody else caught a lot of flack for making a fart joke. And there
That's
you
true.
go. You're saying, I feel
That's
a little
true.
betrayed on that one.
And also, you can see I used to live in Hollywood, and you can actually see my building when he lands in the tar pits, because I lived right next to the tar pits.
See, there you go. You've just explained your rating right there. It's you're remembering where you lived. Okay. That just can't be overcome.
But yeah, and just like he wipes off I love every single self-referential stuff. I love the blockbuster bit. I love that there's bogey in it. It works for me. Everything works for me. But the thing is, you guys aren't wrong. You guys aren't wrong. Like what you guys are talking about would have made a better movie.
But it's still enjoyable looking at those other pieces.
Yeah, and I can totally get it for like a lot of people, like those pieces aren't enough. For me, it is. And so with a 0.5 star of pure nostalgia, I'm giving it a solid 3.5. I love this movie. This is a solid 3.5 picture. This is nothing like Jack. This is the opposite of Jack.
Okay. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's cool.
We can all enjoy different movies.
At no point did I ever come down on you guys.
Oh, I'm not saying you came down
we're not
on
saying,
us.
and we're not saying that's
cool.
You.
Like I feel like a big jerk because it's like, yeah, we're all three. We're gonna curb stomp this thing, and then at the end, you pull the rug out from underneath. You're like, nope, love it. Okay,
I was trying to be as impartial during it so that you guys didn't feel weird.
You fooled us.
I
had no idea you were gonna love this movie so much.
Because, well, I mean, like I tried to. I hate that in podcasts when it is a lot of fun to disagree back and forth. Like it can be a lot of fun when people are like, "This is garbage." No, this is great. You're garbage. That can be fun when it's all in good fun, and I think we do it pretty well. Yeah. Like the three of us do it pretty well. But sometimes, like you guys were giving me such good rewrites that I didn't want to like curb it. Like
no, and this was actually a really fun conversation of this movie. Like. And it's old enough, it's kind of wacky enough to be like, and again, the fact that it had so many rewrites, you're like, man, I would have just thrown in the towel. But yeah, no, I will agree on the comedy, and that's why I don't want to give it a 1. It's just, but it is pearls of comedy with black string of nothing in between, in as far as plot.
Yeah, there was a few times when you guys would talk about something that irked you, and then I was like, "Oh, damn, yeah, I can't argue with that one."
Well, I'm just going to be very, very interested for next week when we get back to McTiernan's wheelhouse when he comes back wounded from Last Action Hero and decides I'm going to go to the one that made me a superstar. So the franchise that elevated his name beyond all others in the action genre. So
that's right.
And Darren, how about you enlighten us what that is?
That's right. Next week, as we continue our journey on McTiernan in the 90s, we're going to go with Die Hard with a Vengeance from 1995.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.